there was the British Hurricane was that they would miss playoffs if they didn't win a single map. So they may have been thanking SMC, and people were like, oh, they're only getting in because of SMC. They've won a map. They would have got in anyway, guys, and credit to them. They did exactly what they need to, but winning one map in this series, that's not enough for a team like Hurricane. They want the series win and prove that they're a team to be taken seriously coming into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, playoffs is the big one for a lot of these teams, and this is the last official matches you'll see before then, so scrims will no doubt take place at some point over Christmas. I know a lot of players have started heading home, for example. They know that it's good to go and spend time with family and to recharge and come back ready for those games in the first week of January. But let's see what they can do on this first point, and in fact, Angry Titans have got by very slippy. Normally they get collapsed on as soon as you push up towards the stairs, but they basically got outside for free here.
It's the Doombra from British Hurricane going at this defense again. Doombra going at this again.
You should just punch someone off the edge now. Go on, do it.
He can't do it. He's charging up the punch. They've spotted it and they just weave back in like, no, not doing that. Goes in with the seismic slam instead. Gets a bit of CC, a little bit of damage. Nothing conclusive. In fact, Lolsich getting the charge onto Numlock. So British Hurricane having the problem here, and they're trying to regroup around him after he was grouped off dead, and they weren't quick enough. Angry Titans still going to capitalize on the mistakes of Hurricane and get this point a capture.
A lot of focus from Numlock and Happy, I think, onto trying to punish Lolsich, who was booped off, I think, by the D.Va. So to try and finish him off, but it did mean that their supports were fully exposed, and all it took them was the focus to come in onto guys like Bucket. You saw Elevate charging his way in onto both of those supports from Hurricane, bringing them down and basically ending Hurricane's defense. Just feels like Hurricane didn't pinch them enough on their way in, didn't say, no, you're not getting through there without losing someone, without being forced to burn a crucial cooldown. You just carry on and take your time.
Do what you want. Have the field. It's all yours.
6.5 minutes. There's a lot of time to play with. They're going to try and do the same thing again, but they've got to make it work this time. We already saw that Luddy can stop this from happening.
These are the positions that are rewarded from such a mobile composition on Hurricane. Danny's going to drop down instead, go for the right click, charging it up, wants to look for someone, just falls short of hitting anyone. Meanwhile, Numlock just found A-Fox, and he still get that pick they were looking for, just comes from a different recipient. Nice click on the left on the shift there to charge into Danny and knock him down. He ultimately will lose his life for it, but does protect a lot of his team from the snowball effect coming in. They're able to retreat out, not losing much more beyond the 2 members that were killed.
Absolutely does. So back to the point. Hurricane now in a spot where they can say, yeah, we can breathe, we can take a couple of minutes here. We've got all these ultimates online, literally all 6 online at that as well. Let's get back to the high ground, wait and see where Angry Titans choose to push in from. And Lolsich has acknowledged as well and said, right, it's dive time, boys. No more Ryan. We are getting collapsed on. We can't really attack them when they're so far away and constantly above us. Let's go a bit more divey ourselves.
Going to move forward, not using that jump jet yet, just using the amp up to get to what they want. They're now on the point, and I can't wait for these Bowler monkeys to be dropping from the rafters from Hurricane to get onto Angry Titans there. Rocket there, Banana boosted Danis, trying to fight against him, but he's locked up, stunned up, 17 HP, will get away. Ness jumps in with the EMP. It does nothing more than stem the flow of Angry Titans. There's no kills, no combo to come out of it. Happy's burning his ultimate in the middle to probably get a remake there, but will go down to Only God. Danin drops the fist onto A-Fox, but Only God will take his life for it. This is looking like an Angry Titans point B capture.
It does, as long as they get these final couple of kills coming out as well. You can even see the 1v1 Only God chasing down Yofi and saying, you should not be alone here, my friend. So close to capping. He got pushed off the point. Happy was so close, but got pushed off by Urki.
That's unfortunate, and it's one of the powerful things about Brigitte.
One of many. One of many
powerful things about Brigitte. She has that rocket flail whip, and it's going to crack it at you and knock you straight off of where you want to be.
Nice little almost stall from Numlock, we'll call it, but again, the reflex coming out of Urki was enough to cap that point for them with 4 minutes and 53 left in the time bank. Again, more than you start with when it comes to this map, so if it does go through to Hurricane, forcing this into a second overtime, well, then potentially Angry Titans can collapse this out and still have time remaining to try and take us all the way up to 6 rounds.
Oh please, they've got time to spare with 4 minutes 53. That's a sizable time bank to roll over to your second attempt. Hurricane, though, can match it. We see a lot of strong offensive teams here in Europe, and the defense often lacks. Now, do we chalk that up to the teams? Do we chalk that up to the geometry? Personally, I don't care what it is. It just happens nonetheless, right? Teams are very fast at taking offense, and they struggle with the defense. We expect multiple captures on assault maps. It takes something real special or someone to do something really stupid for that to not happen.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Angry Titans, though, rolling out with a very standard goad setup here, so no Winston going to be brought to the fore. It's always a risk, because Horizon, as you can see laid out before you, is quite outly for Winston. Back when he used to live here, of course, a very vertical map. There's lots of ground you can jump between. There's lots of areas that have chokes in where your bubbles fit quite well. And although you can argue the same for Ryan with that square shield, the biggest problem is that with the lacking of vertical mobility, if the enemy team brings it, or they bring something like a Widowmaker, say for example, we've just seen them change off it, but if they brought that, how do you contest it realistically?
Teasing us, Des, they ain't bringing a Widowmaker, but I get your point there. You don't need that. You do need that mobility. You need that option to get onto the back line.
If they get forced off the high ground here, it makes it very tough, and they've already chosen to jump down.
They're
and
opting in.
They're okay because they're being matched by the same thing from Hurricane. It does kind of force the issue of goats versus goats, but Hurricane, if they wanted to, could go and play with the Winston and just force their way up into a high ground by going right or left, and then using the mobility advantage they get.
I think they just want to get down and dirty with Angry Titans, force the issue. Here on the corner, Numlock going down low before the fight happens. Going to be kept alive, but Danid and Nesh aren't. If the resources are going to keep Numlock alive, they're not going to be able to keep others. He will get the charge kill onto Urki, but for the most part, this is a clean wipe for Angry Titans.
Nice first fight going over to their side, and this is where the question mark comes in as well. Both teams are pretty adamant that they're by the looks of things, and actually based on how this series has gone so far, that they can win in the goats versus goats matchup. But if Angry Titans start winning these early fights, already they're getting towards that Earthshatter. To be fair, it's exactly the same story for Numlock. One Earthshatter can change how these fights play out massively. Angry Titans doing the smart thing as well and resetting back to the high ground, so they basically force Hurricane to play low. They try and force high, and they get chevroned into kind of a very choky position and get punished for it.
Now they're on the point, so Hurricane have more freedom to move around. This is fine. Multiple angles to attack. Lol's just getting stunned up. Nice barrier, keeps him up. He's forced way to keep the box to take out.
Too late.
Transcendence, going with the aggressive play. Angry Titans are asking for one of their own, but that shatter being dropped from Numlock should spell the difference because Lolsish, he died before he could get hit online. And the Earthshatter is going to make all the difference for Hurricane. They press through and get point A.
Apex had a really good game last week, but that trans there a little bit too slow as well. Unfortunately, his main tank had already gone down just as he brought it out. So ultimately was more of a waste than anything else, and all that was there for Numlock to do was say, wait for the trans, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drop the shatter, and we're going to cleanse them out from here and push on towards the second point ourselves. They've now got 6 minutes, so if they can do this in a minute, they match Angry Titans' time. That's just how quick Angry Titans were. It's definitely a tall order, but they've got the ults to make it happen. They've got 4 on side compared against the 3 coming online for Angry Titans.
The ults are on Hurricane's side. High ground being held by Angry Titans. Rich Hurricane don't care about it. Just around the opposite side of the point. Himself on there, but Nesh being shouted out. You got to burn through the armor and the shields and self-destruct by multiple people. Clinical play there from Angry Titans. Kills the momentum of Hurricane.
I like that because so much of Hurricane's focus was actually onto Ellie, knowing that he was the reason that they wouldn't be able to get off that Graviton Surge into self-destruct combo. So quite naturally, your focus is, well, keep an eye on him, watch the defense matrix, focus him down so he's forced to use it. Then we turn around and drop the grab and such. Biggest problem there is, well, Lolsish was like, no one touches my best buddy. Earth shatters the whole team. And then, well, what can I say? Ellie votes like, see you guys, smile. And suddenly they caught over and out with the self-destruct.
She throws that bomb over and kills 3 of your team members.
Exactly. So nice and clean from Angry Titans. Good to respond to the aggression being forced out by Hurricane.
Again, I'm not moving around the pillar. Keeping his team safe. Lolsish going to take that ground as well tonight. There's ground on the
Here we go.
We got booped out. Hang on a minute. They shut down the momentum of where that self-destruct was going to go. Now the Transcendence is being layered on top. Here comes the sound barrier as well. Numlock's still going to find Urki. He's been doing a lot that game. Charging into Urki, taking him out with the damage joke, running through Lolsish. It's looking pretty good for Hurricane. They just need to keep going, keep getting these kills because the ball advantage is going to start playing into Angry Titans if they don't get the kills fast enough. Nice tracking there from Nesh to take out Luddy in the sky. D-Mech is there, 2 thirds of the pie. Here come the reinforcements though. Lolsish wants to get on the point. You had Elliot staggering it out. They're going to get the capture. I think they've done it in time.
About 25 seconds below.
25 seconds
28 to be precise. It's still close enough.
I mean, they're still looking at around about a 4-minute time bank. There's a lot to work with on their next attempt.
Yeah, they were 4 minutes 25, I think it was. Yep, there you go. Both
beautiful
with a very good first push, and well, the curse of going to overtime multiple times, it feels like, when it comes to these assault maps continues.
So hey, that boop on the self-destruct.
And it wasn't a boop, I think it was it was Danny with the shield bash.
Danny shield bashed the mech, right?
It was something that Legday raised in the last series, funnily enough, where he was saying that the best thing you can do if as a Brigitte is if you see a D.Va use the boost, immediately as soon as you can, get the bash down because you cut out all that momentum, she loses the whole boost. That's exactly what happened there. The momentum was going upwards and Danny was like, no, stay. And because it wasn't in the air, well, didn't have to see the main tank raise his shield, didn't have to expose his main body to the enemy team. Instead, just had to hold it up right in front of him. So really smart play and really good reaction. Sorry, not from Danny, it was from Urki.
It was Urki. It was Angry Titans shutting down the happy cool self-destruct.
Correct.
But it's still an impressive play nonetheless.
Oh yeah.
Which is why we highlight
it. It's no less impressive than Danid's. Well, no less impressive than Urki. It being Urki or Danid, both equally impressive in their own rights.
But only one of them could have done that play in that instance.
Yeah, obviously only Urki.
And it was Urki.
Yeah, the boy.
The boy.
So,
Angry Titans and the rest of their boys. looking to hold on this defense. So they do have a 28-second difference in their favor. Very negligible when it comes to assault maps in this size of time bank, but we'll see how it plays out for them. Angry Titans looking to hold off British Hurricanes' assault. Going in with similar compositions. No wins to be found this time around.
Absolutely, again, more of the same. That Goats versus Goats matchup, we saw one point doing this earlier today where you forced this kind of artificial choke, but Hurricane is saying, nah, peace out, brother, we're on to the high ground, see you later. And they can't follow because that way Angry Titans will be forcing themselves into a choke. So now it looks like actually it's going to be Hurricane taking position at point. They're even going to force Lulcich off point.
Lulcich is like, all right, I'll see you later then, guys. Flies off that point, and now they have to aggress onto Hurricane, which can prove difficult themselves. Numlock then taking out A-Fox with that flame strike. Beautiful. He's been hitting people off all the time with that. Lulcich now going to shut him down, but Yofi in trade for Luddy. So Reinhardt is absent for the double support advantage that British Hurricane now have. Could be big. Lulcich again, taking out Nash, but everyone else is falling around him. Hurricane have done it yet again.
Really smart from Hurricane as well. Yofi with that speed boost, getting them onto the high ground. The immediate descent onto the point. Angry Titans were left kind of a bit lost it, but they weren't sure what to do. Do they pursue them? Do they run back to point? What I would have liked to have seen them do is pop the speed boost themselves and get back onto the other side of point. So at the very least, you get onto that point at the same time, because in a really strange twist of fate, Angry Titans with a team on their own defense playing into a choke, which is exactly what Hurricane wanted.
If you can do that, you've already won half the battle.
You force them into an unfavorable position where they're forced to use cooldowns to actually engage onto you.
Yep.
Like you say, you've pretty much won half the battle already.
Bolsh is sitting on that Earth Shadow, ready to go whenever he wants to. Going to press on. This is very similar to how they handled the last defense. Exactly the same path of ingress from British Hurricane, the same reaction from Angry Titans. But now they've seen him drop onto the point. They're taking a little bit more time to consider what they want. Ult's coming online for British Hurricane. He's got himself to have himself to go. Next about to go there. Ult's just going to commit first. Contenders to keep him more alive. There's the stun into the shatter. And look at the impact Numlock's having on the field. They need to roll over this one, play, and make these kills quick. But A-Fox is having none of it. Pulls out the Transcenders, buys more time for the reinforcements to come into play. Lulcich has jumped over the Wrecking Ball just to get there faster. And I think he's going to do it. Graviton Surge pulling together. Trade it out again. But there's the sound barriers to keep everyone alive. Numlock fragging out. 2 to the 3. Can he find the 4th? It gets it just on top of A-Fox. Lulcich is going to buy some more time with the troll, with the means. Luddy being taken out by Pocket. I think that's going to be all it, right? It's going to be British Hurricane finishing Horizon again.
We managed to get Urki back on point, even only got here as well, taking the whole team with him, but no one's on point. They're still managing to contest. They are running this time back down. Everyone's actually coming back out of spawn now.
They're going to get this one though, like they're just flopping resistance at them. No one's getting any return kills. The supports are still up for Hurricane. Angry Titans able to buy a little bit more time, but ultimately we knew what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah, Hurricane spitting hot fire at Angry Titans on their defensive round there. Everything we saw Angry Titans throw at them was ignored, refuted, shut down, and destroyed. And Hurricane with a very convincing round find themselves with 2 minutes and 17 left. I would not be surprised to see this go to overtime once again and start pushing towards those 7s and 8s.
7s and 8s, Des?
7s and 8s. I think we've seen it once in all the Contenders so far this season. We've never seen a 9, always 7 and 8.
Okay. I don't think we'll reach a 9 today somehow.
Well, you never know. You just never know.
I mean, I think your estimation of 7-8 is a little bit ambitious, but
you never know.
You know, we've still got 2 minutes 17 on the clock for Hurricane, and we yet to see what Angry Titans are going to do with their nearly 5-minute time bank.
Don't forget you get an extra 30 seconds as well. So for Hurricane on their next attack, it will be 2 minutes and 47 seconds. And with how quick they managed to take first point and roll that over to second, yeah, they didn't win immediately, but it was still pretty quick overall in terms of a cap. If they can shut that stall down, it's perfectly doable in the time they've got.
Hurricane opting for the more damage-orientated option. Sombra Doomfist coming out. Wasn't successful for them on their defense the first time around, or as much as they'd like it to have been. Angry Titans, I think they got a good read on it. I don't know if they'll adapt if they see it, but they were able to play into it quite confidently last time.
Don't forget we saw it work really well on Hollywood on second point in the Wild West area where there was a lot of vertical ground. You're seeing exactly the same thing here again. On Hanamura it's a bit less so because the high ground isn't as available. You're looking towards the area really as your only available high ground. Second point there is a lot more, yes. This stage you're in now actually is kind of similar to that because there is basically high ground on every side of the point that you look at.
No one's going to press them through there. Danid not going in for the dive below. Instead, he's going to go and play on this high ground. Angry Titans taking the external pathing.
I like it for Hurricane as well. Straight up on the high ground themselves and just watching and waiting because if they do choose to push point, they can drop down there and match them.
They're going back and forth with this one, changing the route, going to come up the stairs instead. Change how this is played up. A nice restriction Danid to not go in immediately. But it does concede a lot of ground for Angry Titans to take. And they're moving across. clear everyone from the rafters, move back down, but now they're coming in behind him. Nice punch there, send Bloody to the spawn room. Look at that weave! What is that mechanic from Danhead? He just went under and over. It's enough for British Hurricane to clean out Angry Titans. That just shows the mastery of this champion.
Now look, I don't claim to be a Doomfist master, but I've seen a lot of the combos. I speak to coaches who like a lot of Doomfist. I've never seen that before.
Well, tell you what Hurricane haven't seen before. Frags out from Angry Titans. They got a few kills off the back of that, and it's going to put some strain on Hurricane to defend it this time around. If you're going for the right click, the Petra barrier is there, and the sound wave will put his aim off a little bit more. Despite the impressive plays from Danhead, Angry Titans still going to cap point A.
Sadly, a little bob and weave like that isn't really going to suddenly kill all 6 members of the enemy team. Yeah, it's smart and it might surprise them a bit.
Hang on a minute. It's still impressive.
It's super
it
impressive.
It kind of made us go, whoa.
It's impressive, but it doesn't net you any kills. Maybe with a surprise factor, it might. But Angry Titans, with a 1.5-minute advantage, now get to push onto the second point. Still rolling out that same kind of comp as well, actually bringing the Winston to the fore for the second point, and Hurricane have changed nothing up.
That's fair enough. He did blast Bloody before doing that nice little win. So he got 1 kill at least, trading it out. There's Danhead moving back in, still sticking with the Doomfist, getting close to that meteor strike. It's Nesh you need to be worried about that. He's the one with the EMP, gonna pull the trigger on that. Danhead going down low, Yofi happy call, finding kills instead. Danhead move back in, taking out Lolsish, locked up by the uppercut and the seismic slam. Dezachu moving around to the side, but I think Hurricane got control of this one, just needing Nesh's EMP to dismantle Angry Titans.
Actually, a lot of work was being done by the anti-nade as well, because the trans came out of Angry Titans from AFOX, and he was keeping most of his members healed up. But you saw the Winston get blasted down by Danhead because of the anti-nade, like I say, that came through from Bucket. So very crucial to land that onto a few members and make sure they can net those kills. Hurricane now sat in a position where they've got 5 ultimates online, and that time bank is down to 3 minutes. Give it this fight, while Hurricane will have the advantage once again in terms of the time bank.
You can see the silhouettes of 3 heroes up in the rafters ready to drop down on Angry Titans when they move, and it's going to be daunting for them knowing they can't get everyone up there to compete. You'll send Lolsish in with that protective barrier, but Danon's already deleted Bloody, got the nano boost, moving in with the meteor strike, wants to cut off the reinforcements. AFOX then being taken out, probably gets the DMEC as well to Ellivo. Look at the work this man's doing. This is Danon unleashed on Angry Titans and paying them so much dividends. Well, so many. That's the best stuff down. Oh well, Ellivo being punched into oblivion as well.
You can see exactly why British Hurricane picked this guy up. He's an absolute monster, and Angry Titans themselves even acknowledge and say, you know what? We can't deal with it. We need a response. So Only God, get out that McCree. We've seen you played a few times this season. It's time to bring the double stuns to the party.
Only God's like, come at me right now. Try and do it now. Say that to my cowboy face as he pulls out the McCree, ready to fight Dan when he dives in there. Nesh does have an EMP, so the flashbank's not going to be an option. He just walked straight past him, weren't expecting it. Sneaking in. There's a bit of spy checking from Ellie, but he's not looking the right way. Wait for it. Where's it coming? Hold up. He's been detected. He just bumped into someone. He has to go now. Throws the EMP, deletes immediately. The rest of the team's going to walk in. I don't think the EMP got off. I think they killed him before it fully animated.
I think it did. They just turned around and mauled him.
Yes, they had abilities to maul him.
No, it was right clicking him. I think left clicking, sorry.
Ah, well, they still show him down. Transcendence is being layered on top. AFOX using that already. Dana goes in. Shut down by Lolsish. It was the shield bash from Brigitte that enabled him to do that. Not the McCree. He's only got still around here fragging somewhere. They're popping shots into happy cause. AFOX now been hacked up. Nesh is going to lose his life for it. Exposed himself. Mercury is going to go right up in his face with that Brigitte and punish him for it. And when he goes relatively safe, throws the flashbang, hits the Winston with the bubble, protects any follow-up damage. Using the flashbang, won't be able to stop Danny though because he hasn't saved it for him. Meteor strike gets him up on the high ground, drops back down, goes for the punch, but Lolsish dies before he can take the rocket fist. They're still holding on to this one, Des. And look at the time bank. 45 seconds remaining for Angry Titans. British Hurricane are on the brink of taking a lead against what was a potential first-place team in this group.
Yeah, Only God using the stump of the tanks, trying to get the Winston, instead just gave so much agency to Danit there to do what he wanted to do and just completely wrecked the hell out of the other team. I felt kind of bad for Yofi as well, because he must have been screaming, no, sorry, not Yofi, AFOX being like, Discord onto Happy, Discord onto Happy, Discord onto Happy. No one focused him. Everyone ignored him, and even when he got low just by himself, he got nano straight after him. He was like, well, I give up, whatever.
Fox about to strike midday for Only God. Pops that ultimate on cooldown, takes out Yofi, but no one's already got a teammate.
On as well.
And Danit has taken out Elivo. They're on the point, trying to get positional advantage, going to boop away Numlock. They're going to burn it down into overtime. Even if Angry Titans use the map, they're not going to get another attempt at this one because they've got nothing left in the tank. Danit still trying to fight against Brigitte, but will lose the stun, the rocket flare, the damage, the healing. It's too much to deal with if you're a Doomfist if you don't get that one shot off. Only God taking out Numlock. Self-destruct on the point. Another high noon for Only God. He takes Happy Cause. He jumps out the middle. He can't hide. He won't hide around the pillar. Is that a C9? Oh, they completed.
No.
It's not a C9. I thought they weren't able to touch there because they died.
That's
But
fine.
they don't get another attempt. They just have to hold it. So at best, Angry Titans can only draw this map.
And that forces us to a very interesting best of 3. So best case scenario for Hurricane is they complete here, go into the next map, win, and call it a day. Or Angry Titans force it through to the 5th map.
Great for British Hurricane. They walk in, grab that one up. By not having a draw, they have that extra life, that cushion. Can't say the same for Angry Titans if they go in with the draw.
It's a tough one. Like I say, maybe a bit of a question around focus as well for Angry Titans, because we had, like I say, A-Fox on screen for a good 15-20 seconds. With that Discord orb starting happy and no one focusing him. That's either saying, well, the tanks are busy elsewhere and you need to be putting the Discord on them, or they need to turn their focus to who you're calling, because it was a bit broken at that stage, although that is one of the very minor things that you can pick apart from Angry Titans' play. But unfortunately for them, British Hurricanes play, it's looking super solid right now.
Refined in this second half of this series. Able to get those edges out over Angry Titans, bringing out impressive play from Danid as well. Like, we joked around it, how just weaving on terrain, isn't that impressive when it's applied? But then you watch him pop off afterwards on point B, finding multiple kills, getting that nano boost, and really rewarding his team for the amount they're investing into him to facilitate this damage.
You have to think about Doomfist as well, is that you expect him to go in and get kills. In organized play, it is very tough for him to do that, but what he does do is he is a drain on resource, attention, cooldowns, just to keep yourself alive against him. If he goes too deep and goes too aggressive and gets picked off, sure, you potentially burn barriers for it, you've burnt discords onto him when they could have been on a tank. Like, you are genuinely giving away resources that would be more useful to the team elsewhere, potentially, but you have to deal with that threat then and there.
I knew you were trying to say rat there because we did see Danid on Wrecking Ball, but he's gone back over to Vita. Nice stuff on the A-Fox. Look at the burst on Rocket. He had an orb of Discord on there. No reaction from British Hurricane to shut that down. They've been caught off guard by Angry Titans. Cheeky positioning coming into this attempt.
Did you remember seeing this last week when it was on Numbani first? And the Ana just kept on finding different spots to anti-nade. I think it was 3 different spots she
It was
found.
on Numbani, yeah. We were counting and we were like, 1, there's the second, he's going for the third. Oh, he's going to get it.
After the 3rd time, it fell apart because they ran out of ways to surprise them. So Angry Titans buying themselves a bit of time, but you still got yourself potentially another 3 fights to burn through if you are going to hold this out and force it to a draw.
1 minute 15 on the clock.
Oh, they got baited.
They nearly got away with it this time. The attempt number 2, swing and a miss for Angry Titans, so they're going to have to do this without the cheekiness. That's fine, they've done it before, they can do it again. Burn an extra couple of seconds, Earth Shadow online for Lolsish. Can he slam down Hurricane as they press forward? But Angry Titans will take the fight to them. Unable to find a window of opportunity, so we'll have to back off. And this is now how Hurricane will press forward. Weaves down the corner. Does find 8 Jofi on the back line, but he's only going to find Danny with the flame strike. Pin the Transcendence away from the majority of the fight. That's the plan from Angry Titans, but they're still going to win out the fight. Pulse is taking Bucket. Nesh, 35 seconds remaining. This could be the draw, Des.
One more fight is all they've got to do. And it's looking a bit risky because look at what you're playing into.
Oh my god,
on the
positioning.
side.
Look where they're going with this one. They want to try and catch him off guard again. Maybe they look for the high ground. They can come in behind them, but they are going to give away a lot of territory if they take an alternative route. They're playing into this.
They're trying to find out exactly where they are. They know where they are. They're on the low ground. If they can descend behind them and surprise them, that's big.
They're trying to bait it out. I don't think they know where they are, so they're going to have to come in behind them. They're rushing to the point. They now realise the flame strike would have given away the position, but they've jumped on it. They have got a touch on it, that's important.
No, they've got to touch it themselves. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. They're finally getting put out. Self-destruct goes up high. There's that shatter dropping down. No one dies to the self-destruct, but the Grafton's going to come out and pull them together. The jump on top. Nesh taking out Lottie. Damn it, they've done it! Hurricane are going to lead in this series.
Sadly, when it's a ball versus ball, literally being held in place fighting against each other, the one with the sound barrier will persevere. Hurricane take 2 maps after a disastrous start to this series. Now they're at match point.
Hurriacne wins?
Hurriacne?
Hurriacne
Oh, I
wins.
didn't even read the typo.
It's fine.
We'll take it.
We'll look into that one. But Hurricane going in the lead 2-1 in this series. Looking good for them. Got that extra life. So they actually need to lose 2 maps to lose this series. Now, Angry Titans only need to lose 1. It's looking good for them. Hurricane, if they win, they get that 3rd place. They miss out on Morning Stars, who are arguably one of our most dominant teams this season.
That would be a very interesting match in itself, seeing Hurricane face off against Morning Stars, but I can't imagine we're the only ones who would like to see that in a later stage of playoffs potentially as well.
If Hurricane do that and take 3rd place, I believe, no, if they actually lose here and they get they win, they get 2nd place. They go up against Giganti, We get our Season 1 rematch.
You get a remake, boys.
In the quarterfinals of Season 3. What a story that would be.
That would be fantastic. But alas, we'll have to go and see how they do when it comes round to that 4th map.
Exactly. We're going to give you that map right after a break. Welcome back. Final map of the series, question mark, because we don't know if we're going to have map number 5. Angry Titans could pull this back, force out our first 5th map of the night, and what a way to end the season that would be.
It would be on a nice high as well, because this series has been relatively back and forth for the most part. Hurricane, though, on maps 2 and 3, taking the win, really warming into the series, as we said. That's not to say Angry Titans haven't put up a fight. We saw a number of interesting defenses, shall we say, coming through when it was actually on Horizon. However, of course, this does mean that this map is also a pick coming through for Angry Titans. Now, Route 66 is one they chose to opt with. Curious to see if they've got anything unique to bring to the table here. We do sometimes see a full hold come through where it can be goats, it can be the mountain goats that we talk about, or dive goats, or all these other different varieties of it. Basically one where you bring Winston instead of the Rhine, again thanks to that vertical mobility. We've even seen crazier things in the past where some teams have tried to whack out a Bastion and use it with things like the Symmetra teleporter. Probably a bit extravagant for these two teams, I imagine. But either way, full holds can be very effective on this map.
Yeah, I do like the relocation we saw on Route 66, where teams are just changing between high grounds when Symmetra teleporters off cooldown, whilst protecting that Bastion, just firing from this aggressive defensive position we see a lot of teams take from just different angles and trying to find a way to break it and then probably go back to the spawn room and change, or potentially pirate ship afterwards. British Hurricane looking to do the same thing with that aggressive defensive position. I don't think Angry Titans are going to spice this one up. Difference to note, Bucket with the armor.
And we already saw him get some big anti-nades on their defense of Horizon, so not too surprised he's choosing to bring it out. Is one of his favorite heroes in the game as well. No reason why you wouldn't let him play it after the series that he has been having. Now let's see if they can shut down this offense coming out of Angry Titans. They are going for this full hold as we spoke about. Now it's a case of trying to land a big anti-nade and crushing them off the back of that.
Looking to find Doc Bok in that corner, and British Hurricane going to collapse on them and hooked the bait and went for Anna Amari and ended up just becoming Calamari. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Me neither, but nice. You tend to stick a lot of your squishier members inside these trains, especially the one to the left here, or now to the right of the payload itself. Main reason being is that they have to basically wrap around in front of the whole team, run in front of the train, squash themselves through a very narrow choke to even try and get onto them. And you saw it happen there. Nesh dropped the projected barrier down to Bot. They just couldn't burn him in time, and they got absolutely melted whilst they were all looking the other way. It's a very good way of giving them two areas of attention to focus on. It just leaves a lot of teams confused.
Lolsish anti-naded, stunned up, and it's a free kill for Numlock, so they just decimate him. Committing a lot of cooldowns to do it, but it's not been punished by Angry Titans. In fact, losing that main tank is taking the wind out of their sails. They wanted to go for a little bit of stall on Elivo. It's not going to happen, though, as Erky jumps off the edge of the map as well. Burned already. 1 minute 10 of Angry Titans time back.
5 volts coming online for Hurricane just from a full hold of 1 minute and 15 seconds to have all these online. Already used the rally as well. Like, that payload has moved 0.19 meters so far. They're down for 2.5 minutes. That means a minute and a half has been burnt to this stage. Angry Titans, though, are starting to get a couple of ults online themselves. That trans might just be the Hail Mary they need there. Play aggressive with it and go for the push, but they're already on the high ground, Tridd. Now they'll try and collapse them from behind.
They were on the high ground, went for the switcheroo. That was a nice eat there to eat up the anti-nade, thrown out by Bucket to keep the healing option for Angry Titans. Lolsh is taking out damage. You've got the nano boost onto Numlock. He's pinned against the wall. He's taking too much damage to be sustained, even with a biotic grenade to boost out the healing. Apex only going to find 2 more kills. Nesh only finding 1 for the side of Hurricane. And with spawn advantage, there's, you know what that means? The payload begins to move.
It did throw an awful lot of that as well. You can see British Hurricane were pretty defiant and determined to hold that point. Unfortunately, the nano boost isn't really quite enough. Transcendence may be a bit more useful for you, which is why Bucket is going to switch over to the Zen. Now, Angry Titans managed to win that without burning too many ults themselves as well. It was only the Graviton Surge and the Rally that came out, so they can use that to push past his garage, which is normally a very good stall point, and that's exactly what we're going to see them try and do.
Nesh has that Grav in his pocket. He can go ahead and use that one and stall all he wants, especially if they win the fight. They buy themselves enough time here with the distance left to get it. Put together, Shatter counters it perfectly from Lolsish, but the grab means they can't capitalize. Self-destruct being used for a remake from Happy Call to get out of jail free card, if you will. Push forward onto Numlock. It's Lolsish going down again. Not enough support comes in. Numlock's going to go down as well. So he traded Reinhardt's bot and taken out Only God. Looks like it could go in favor of Hurricane, but they're being pinned together by Only God's grab. It was his parting gift.
Apex hasn't moved in like 30 seconds. He's literally just sat here, not pressing any arrow keys except clicking, and he's getting so many kills. Look, that's cleaning up. Yeah. Beautiful.
That is pretty good for Angry Titans. Only God obviously dropping that grab before he went down. Able to get that one out, hold Hurricane together, and like you said, if it gets to the point where your Zenyatta doesn't have to move, you pretty much got control of the fight.
Exactly, yeah, doing more than enough work to close it out for him there and then.
He did buy enough time for one more fight before point A is captured. 45 seconds remaining. Hurricane win this. A shatter might be enough for Numlock to turn the tide of this battle. He takes out Erky. Happy Cool jumps in there to finish off the kill. He's going low. If they keep him up, it might be a win here, but they can't. There's no shield to block out the self-destruct. They're going to send the Transcendence in from Bucket, but now they've laid it. So Apex can bring his one out afterwards. Throws down a shadow. There's no block for it. The healing's there to keep him up. Self-destruct coming out there from Happy Cool. Go for the boot to try and expose the rest of the team. Charge comes through. Sound barrier to buy some more time. Nesh takes out Lolsish. Another Only God grab pulls him up. Armor pack comes in with the rally to keep up. Nesh is tearing through Angry Titans, and British Hurricane might be able to stop them shy of point A. What a hold and what a comeback.
My words. Angry Titans coming in, looking at that #1 spot. They probably looked at today, and most people would have as well have thought, well, except for Twitch chat. Twitch chat is never wrong, man. They are always right. They called it. They called Hurricane winning.
Usually we joke about them taking our jobs. do it. Like, we'll just let you have all the predictions, right?
You guys are on it right now, that's for sure. But for Angry Titans, again, coming into today, they look like they're one of the stronger teams. Hurricane have walked that rocky road, and we were concerned whether or not we would see them come out with a strong performance today. And yes, their spot was already cemented thanks to Shoes Money Crew, but I think with the performance they've given today, not only have they redeemed themselves for their performance against Shoes Money Crew, but have shown they are a serious contender coming into playoffs.
Their spot was guaranteed, but they have definitely earned it this series. That's what's important here. It wasn't gifted to them by SMC. They have earned it by taking it to Angry Titans.
And it's always that, it's the thing the guy said on the desk at half-time. Which Numlock do you want? Do you want Busan Numlocked, or do you want Hollywood Numlocked?
Do you want the premium Numlocked from Hollywood?
We've had the pampered version of Numlocked from Hollywood. He's gone through there, had a nice rest, got a massage, said, right, time to carry big boy, and he's come out now and done work. Because even in these fights, like Lulsish is always one of these big main talents we speak about here in Europe, especially as part of this duo with Ellie. Numlocked, in all of these fights I've seen in the last 2 maps, has been very, very decisive in what he wants to do. He knows when it's time to drop the shield and start swinging away. He knows when it's time to back off. There's no hesitation. He's very clear on what he wants to do. You even saw him come out man mode in that last fight when they dropped off the high ground, dropped the Shatter immediately. He was like, no fear, Shatter is coming down right now. We're going to make this play work. That's what you want from a, not so much a leader, but I guess you could look to Reinhardt as a leader in your team. He's the man with the shield at the front line.
But you can look at Numlocked as a senior figure in the team. He's been around in Overwatch esports, spent some time with the LA Valiant as well. He's definitely a senior figure in this team.
And a lot more experience before that as well. One of the UK boys, we saw him quite a bit there as well.
Bit of a Lanimal.
Bit of a Lanimal, absolutely. On the
Paying
grind.
dividends right now. British Hurricane opting for something different. They got Danid on the Hanzo. Happy Cool on the Fire. They're going for a double projectile. And Nesh as well on the Sombra. This is triple DPS at its finest.
This is the special that we saw them pull out quite a lot on Iconvold last season, funnily enough, back when it was Fusions playing on the Winston. But Numlocked, well, it's time to try and show what he can do as well. The question is, can they make it work? Almost getting picked off there, but they committed so much for that.
Happy was so close to going down, but he stayed up. Yofi being in the pocket there to keep him up, and now he's going to take out Afox, move into Lulsish, because they didn't take out the Far and Net. They're going to have a problem. He's still alive. He's able to keep it up and just pepper more. Gets the D-Mech on the Ellie boat. He's moving close to a barrage. Lulsish being taken out. Luddy, he's the target next up, but he's too fast. He's moving around. Nesh is the one to take him out. Only God has to go down. The payload's in motion. They've only burnt 1 minute to do it.
That is a strong statement as well. It's not a case of, oh, our GOATS is better than yours. It's we can beat you on GOATS, we can beat you with triple DPS. And they're also coming online. Let's not forget, yesterday we saw this a lot. What was the combo that we spoke about when these two are on the same team?
EMP Barrage.
Absolutely. There were a couple of teams who messed it up yesterday, but British Hurricane aren't a team with how they've been playing so far to mess this one up. That is all they're looking for, but they've got all the other ultimates online just in case they need them. But to be honest with you, Tridd, one more fight and this is done.
Look at the distance. One combo to win it all for British Hurricane, put to bed the naysayers, and go into quarterfinals as a confirmed playoffs contender.
But they've got to catch everyone.
Has to pull the trigger. EMP's there. The barrage comes down. He's found 2. It might be enough. Elivote's going to end the reign of terror. But here comes Danid. He's got a Dragon Strike of his own through the rest of the team. Yofi will bring Happy Cool back into the fight. The Valkyrie is there to sustain through the damage. They're on the payload, and it's only Elivote that stands in the way to contest. Throwing the self-destruct up. They need to block out the damage. Happy Cool, resurrected, finds 2, goes back down, always making that 2-for-1 trade, and it leaves Danid to just take out the mech, take out Afox. The contestation is coming from the tank line, and they're forcing them away. They're playing around the terrain, but Nesh is there to take out Lulsish. Sound barrier comes out. Yofi still dancing around the fight, dishing out the heals to the rest of British Hurricane. As Danid is going to take out Luddy. A headshot onto Erky. It's perfectly placed. They're throwing everything and the kitchen sink at Hurricane to keep their dreams alive, but they have to do it for 1 minute 30 more. Afox throwing out the healing orb. Bucket clearing out Ernie God. Numlock, Bucket again. It's still being contested. One more kill should do it as Luddy comes back in to be the final death of the match. No more contesting. British Hurricane are going to take this series 3-2-1.
In decisive fashion as well with the triple DPS. They say, China, we see your quad DPS. We don't need 4. 3 is more than enough. And happy call on that Farah. It's been a long time seeing you on it, buddy, but I'm glad we got to see it once more. He did so much work and got so much focus from Angry Titans, but still manages to close it out for them. What can I say, Hurricane? I had my doubts. I was one of the biggest doubters here in this studio, but after that performance, I think it's pretty fair to say going into playoffs, they are now one of my top contenders to actually win the season.
What a turnaround from British Hurricane. They have now guaranteed themselves a more advantageous position moving into our quarterfinals. But to close out the night and the year effectively, we're going to throw it back to our analyst desk.